What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. How is everyone doing? It's been a while. Happy New Year. My last stream, the last time I went live, it was back in December. So I've been away in January, but I'm back and looking forward to it. I have camera now, so now you can see me. You can laugh together in here. So yeah, let's go back. It's the same thing. It's looking at the market, the crazy market that we are right now since Trump took charge and is the new president. And now we are in this situation of applying tariffs to every single country. So no one is safe in here, basically. And that's why we are having this volatile market full of gaps and with crazy moves when no one is expecting, basically, which leads into a new dynamic and something that we need to adapt in here. So yeah, good to be back. To be honest, since I haven't done really the stream, I haven't been as consistent or disciplined with my own pre-market analysis. So I'm actually happy to be back to do the pre-market analysis, because this helps me also to stay disciplined and to prepare for what to expect in this for next day. Just some music here. Perfect. Yeah, so as always, feel free to share any comments, any charts that you want me to look at. Feel free to share. As always, we start with the dollar index, but before that, like, we can take a look at the news as well. This week's going to be NFP, but as you know, before we even go into NFP, there's going to be more news in regards to tariffs. This trade war that we found ourselves at this point. As you know, Trump already announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico, around 25%, also 10% in China. Mexico, I think there was some conversations today that maybe it was postponed for a month. Canada, I think it was supposedly to start tomorrow. Canada already replied, saying that he's going to apply also 25% tariffs on anything that is coming from the US. Not everything. There's specific items where they're going to be applied those tariffs. So we are in this situation. Also, Trump threatening that's going to apply tariffs in the Eurozone, not in the UK at this point, but basically just said that no one is safe in terms of being eventually charged with tariffs from the US. So we'll see. But in terms of the markets, yes, we do have unemployment this week. So we have NFP on Friday, job openings tomorrow, ADP and farm payroll on Wednesday, and then we have interest rate decision in the UK. Basically, it's the last central banker that hasn't really announced or hasn't had the meeting yet this year. That's going to happen this Thursday. We already had ECB cutting 25%. We had Bank of Canada cutting also 25%. The Fed staying the same. Basically, the Fed and the Jerome Powell is waiting and expecting just to see what Trump is going to do. Now he's finally applying those tariffs, but also waiting to see what the market and how the market is actually going to react to all those tariffs. And more importantly, how is the inflation going to react to it, right? Are we going to see an increase in inflation? In theory, that's where we should notice how this impact or the reflection of all these tariffs should be being reflected eventually in the CPI, in the inflation. And of course, the Fed Chair Powell is going to act accordingly based on what he will see, right? At this point, when you're looking at the rates, the expectation is for the first rate cut to occur, I think it's in June. At this point, the odds, around 45%, which can always be delayed, but that's when we are looking for the first rate cut from the Fed. And until the end of the year, I think it's just 50 basis points or even 25 basis points. Basically just one rate cut until the end of the year. At this point, that's what the market is pricing in. So, and it may even delay if we actually start seeing this inflation increasing due to the tariffs. In reality, even without the tariffs, inflation has already increased a little bit. This month it was at 2.9%. The bottom of the worst, it was in October it was at 2.4. So it's not really moving in the right direction neither. Now, when looking at the charts, all right, so when you are looking at the charts in here, Basically, we are going to see 1 second. All right. So starting with dollar index. Like, and dollar index makes completely sense. Like, I don't really remember where we were last time I did this analysis. I think actually we were somewhere in here. We just broken this to the upside, and it's already reversed a little bit, right? So where dollar index is reacting from, it was okay, but I don't think it's going to be the final destination. Like, it's somewhere around this level, maybe a little bit closer to this structure in here. Of course, I do think that eventually price may still wants to go a little bit closer to this level. This even 111.10 can be also interesting. But nonetheless, the level where price actually reacted overnight, it was actually quite good as well. Or this area in here, in my opinion, there was still fresh orders in here. So yeah, basically around this level there was still left fresh orders. The same thing with euro dollar. In a bit we're going to look at euro dollar, and in my opinion the bottom on the euro dollar as well, there were still orders left behind. As you can see, we had created this high, and basically that high never really reacted from this structure in here, which means that there was always the possibility that price eventually would go all the way through and fake out this high and then start reacting. Now that happened more or less overnight. Start returning, and there you go. Like, basically just fill the gap right now. Right, so the gap has been filled. There was gaps everywhere after these news that were announced late on Friday and over the weekend, and this is where we are. So now the question as well is that we also had this low being broken in here, right? So basically price did manage to break structure in here. Now, is this an move to the downside? That's a question mark basically that you can have in here, right? So are you expecting now for price actually to go all the way to the downside from here? Maybe that can be. One thing that we can look at is definitely this was the demand zone that pushed price to break these highs, and price never really retraced to that level. Right? So that's a typical type of price action that we see in here. Is basically the demand zone that creates the break of the structure on the left side is left behind. Price never really retraces back to that level, which means that in the future it's a great level to look for a reaction and basically faking out all the structure in here, and for price to eventually continue to move more to the upside. Right, and then you can basically use all these left shoulders in here for potential entries. This was a gap as well created last weekend, and then during the Fed meeting or ECB, one of the two, there was this move in here that price actually then closed basically that gap and then continue to push to the upside in here. So yeah, we need to look at the higher time frame and start asking the question of, is this high reacting from the last destination here, or is there more space for eventually this dollar index to continue to push a bit more to the upside? In my opinion, yes, there is. Let me just see if in the higher time frames there's any left shoulder in here. Yeah, not exactly. Yeah, so there's maybe more room to the upside eventually, but in the lower time frame, yes, we did manage to break that level, these lows in here. Price did respected this demand zone in here, but may have broken exactly the edge, right? This is going to be really precise. We're going to be looking at this low in here, and you're going to try to see if actually this structure in here, this low actually was broken or not, and it may have been respected. Yeah, may have been respected. I'm totally okay. I'm totally okay with both scenarios. If prices want to continue to go higher, it would make sense in the bigger picture. If prices want to continue or to go a little bit lower, for now, I would be okay as well with that. Of course, now we close the gap, so we need to see how price may react eventually from one of these structures in here. And even if price does want to go back into this level, is there again still more selling pressure in there? Something that you can maybe take a look into it as well, to see what you can have in here, right? Because at this point, this is the demand zone in here. Basically, price closed that gap. Maybe there was something in here a little bit underneath that price could go and react from. So yeah, who knows? In here, this basically already reacted from. There's maybe even a little bit more to the upside in there. the price eventually can go, and you have also this left shoulder in there. Maybe price hasn't really reacted at this point, but reaction here, yes, it totally makes sense. Again, it's in a weird moment where we had such a gap in here. It was a little bit overnight. We did manage to fake out this high sports, but I do prefer the PA that we can see in here. All right, and it was actually kind of reaching through the opening. In here, I do prefer this PA where you actually have a clear fake out in here, while on $0 you didn't really have this move. Basically, price created several lows in alignment in there. But yeah, this is a good move. Fake out in there as well. Good structure. Perfect. So now it's basically waiting and see. Like basically, price already reacted from the extreme. Is already kind of in the middle of this structure, so he's trying to see how price is going to react from this extreme in here. Basically, that's what I'm going to be looking for at this point. Let me know, guys, what you make of the dollar index and what you're going to be looking for in here. Moving along, we have the US indices, right? This was perfect, actually. This was a really good move in here. So we had that initial move to the downside that happened 1 week ago with the DeepSeek. And thank you, KK. Thank you for your comment. Brilliant. Good to be back. Hopefully to provide value and help everyone as well. So yeah, let's go back into the analysis in here. So as I was saying, the indices, like 1 week ago, there was this big sell-off initially due to the appearance of the DeepSeek, like the AI from China, that apparently technology is cheaper, it's faster, and that can basically revolutionize how the industry of the AI. Meanwhile, price retraced all the way back throughout the week until Friday, where we had another big sell-off when Trump started to announce those tariffs on Canada. What we had in here is that we did manage to break this wall, right? What I saw in here on the S&P is that we did manage to break below that structure, so that for me was actually a move to the downside. The approach was really good. Basically, price was taking every single demand zone on the way down in here, which means that then there was literally the door was open for price to fill all of it, right? It happened with the gap, but as soon as basically we break below that structure, basically the door is open for price to go all the way. The reaction in here is quite similar. We did have this structure here, price never really reacted from that level, and we did have this supply left behind in here, which is basically where price reacted. So that was a really nice move that happened on Friday. Of course, all of a sudden, price already made all the move to the downside, even managed to break below that low. Maybe there's more room to the downside. Basically, we are looking for eventually price to reach a little bit more into this structure in here. So, yep, there's maybe more room to downside, but of course, price may be reacting from this previous supply in there that was not respected. So that supply may become a little bit of demand. That's where price reacted this morning. But I do believe there's more room to downside in here. So that's something to continue to pay attention to. We already had enough liquidity with these highs in here as well. Price reacted perfectly from that level that we talked about already back in December. Like I talked about this level, price reacted from it perfectly. And now basically it's the situation of closing the gap in here to see what's going to happen next. Like so. All right, so closing the gap, and then question mark is there anything else in here still at the highs that eventually price can go towards to, or price will just close the gap in here and start to push a little bit more to the downside. Eventually there's going to be some retest into this level in here, so that can be a potentially short opportunity within this range. All right, price may just go a little bit, eventually it's going to take these lows and react from that level, and maybe look into the lower time frame to see if there's anything that price may have been already reacted from. Yeah, price already even reacted from here. As you can see, there's already that reaction, and price just continues. So eventually price may not react from here anymore. It just goes straight away into the lower edge of the zone, get closer to this level in here, since price already reacted from that structure. Yeah. Yeah, price now respecting these lows, continue to push to the upside. Of course, we have that gap in there. It's important to pay attention to. And yeah, we'll see what's going to happen next, right? But again, similar to what happened on dollar index and many other of the pairs that created this gap. Price reacted from the extreme and now it's already in the middle. So yeah, it's waiting and see in here. For me, Nasdaq, same story. Like the difference on Nasdaq is that price didn't really manage to break structure. It respected actually the extreme in here. S&P did manage to break structure. On Nasdaq actually reacted all the way from the extreme, and then price just came all the way back to react from it again. Right? Again, there's maybe still more room in here for something that you can look for as well. So yeah, back at this level, now closing the gap, and then we'll see again similar to the S&P. The way price was moving to the upside, basically every single demand or level had been already picked up, so everything was basically compressed in here, which means that then price was basically free to move to the downside. So not really changed in this particular case. This low in here for me, it can be seen a little bit as an engulf to the downside, all right, which eventually can push price a little bit closer into this structure, and I wouldn't be surprised if that would happen. That will mean that will drop around 9% on Nasdaq if that's about to happen from the highs, right? It could happen. I think price eventually may wants to go there. Something in here is that price also kept respecting this structure in here. It's a nice level in here, but in my opinion, I don't think if price has already reacted all the way from the extreme in here. There's maybe still a little bit of a gap that maybe price still wants to go, which means that we can even react from there as well, which is something to keep an eye on. All right. Looking at the Dow Jones, right? So basically, there was a really nice move as well. Price which broke this low, filled all the way, the price all the way into this low, and now it's coming back up. I think there's maybe still opportunity to look for some sales in here. So that's something to keep an eye on. Those highs in here, they didn't really react from the extreme. We do have this left shoulder, so I think there's maybe still a potential reaction from this level. Again, it's close to all-time highs, so it's always tricky in there. Like still reacting from that structure in there. There's maybe still some reaction to be expected in there. Of course, price can react somewhere in here before even getting into this extreme in here. DAX, that was another one, a really good move that we were looking for. All right. And there you go, like it happened again. This looks like Friday evenings are starting to become an interesting moment to look for trades. Basically, Trump likes to say something just before the end of the week, and all of a sudden the market reacts to it. Again, that's one of the main differences with Trump, is that there is no more traditional hours to trade. Like the market's going to start moving randomly at time zones that like during the day at the times that we're not really used to, right? It's not going to be just around the London Open or US Open, or when there is specific news that you can look at in the calendar. Right? It's going to be quite randomly. So you need to be open-minded with that. You need to be aware of it. It's going to be maybe more of looking and trusting maybe price action, what you can actually see, what the market is telling you. Just maybe trust on that. Don't really try to predict or anticipate the specific timing of when the market may move, because with Trump, that's not going to be, that's random. Right? So if you're in a trade, maybe you are lucky, then you are on the right direction, prices just move. I think, in my opinion, everything stays the same. Whatever news that happens is just a way to make the market move quicker into the direction where it wanted to go, regardless. So, it's just a different situation. Everything's going to play out quicker in here, which means that make sure that you have your stop losses in place. Don't try to just open a trade and think about placing your stop loss 10 minutes afterwards or half an hour afterwards. Make sure that you have everything in place in here. DAX eventually can go a little bit closer to that structure. May have this low in here as well. It never really managed to break it, so it's still respecting that low. We're curious to see eventually how price may react towards that level. And that's for the indices. All right, so what I'm going to be looking for is for price to retest or getting closer to this, first of all, to close the gap, and secondly, closer to the highs, where it may start looking for new shorts in there. And on DAX, I think there's maybe something, even though I didn't really like how these highs in alignment, even though it did manage to fake out that that high in there, so that was good, but I didn't really like that we had all these highs in alignment. I was looking for an extra fake out in there, which never really happened. It may happen in the future, right? It may happen next time price goes back into one of those levels in there. All right, so next we are going to be looking at crypto, right? And what a crazy move that we had as well. It was exactly what we also talked about with the guys. Like, we're looking at this move that was a really nice fake out in here, and then price started to break structure, and there, of course, we had this quasi mode in here, right? Basically, the origin of this move to the upside, it was in there, and that's basically where price reacted to. Right? If you guys recall my prediction a long time ago on BTC, it was something like this, where we will have still maybe some kind of fake out, some shake that is going to scare more traders before actually get another bull run. And this is basically something similar to that, like with a lot of volatility, a lot of a strong push downside, making everyone scared, and all of a sudden we are moving. Now, I'm not really expecting just V shapes like this. I actually want to see a little bit more of a sustained move to the downside, and then, yes, make people even think more about turning into a bearish market before I actually go. At this point, this is just price filling the ranges all the way, fill the range in here at the lows, and then just bounce back into the highs, and you'll see how price may react from here. Like, there were two levels that I was looking for in here. One of them was in here. The second one is still even in there, even though then maybe there's already been touched on the way down. But you do have that left shoulder in here, so there's maybe something to anticipate or to look for in that zone. Of course, we do have also now this new structure in here that maybe Bitcoin can react from after taking all in there. Like, looking at the Ethereum, what a move as well, went all the way back to 2000s. Basically, there was a 50% already drop in here from the previous highs. Crazy move, and it went all the way as well to test this structure in there. We were also bearish. We saw the break of the lows in here, so yeah, that was quite aggressive. There's even the chance eventually for the team to continue to move to the downside. We'll see what's going to happen in there, but yeah, it may be just it's one of the two things. Like, it's either starting to show the intention where it wants to go, but of course there's still buying pressure, and anytime you are going to see crypto moving to the downside, there's going to be many people interested in buying at cheaper prices until eventually price gives the proper signal that this is a bearish market, and you are not really just buying the bottoms. Like, you are actually maybe buying into a potential bearish market, which means that maybe price may wants to go even lower in here, right? So one of the situations as well is just to think about the timeline that you are planning to trade. Is it just day trading? Are you looking to keep these positions open for just a few weeks or a few months or even a few years, right? So that's something that you need to consider in here. Solana, what a move as well, right? So we had that big push to the upside with the Trump coin, and then price just corrected and now reacted all the way back to the extreme again, right? Basically coming all the way back to the origin of this move. Initially you had that zone as well that we've been waiting for after that initial break to the upside. Now new highs being created and price coming all the way back in here. So that's also a crazy move, close to 300, all the way back to 175. So yeah, Solana, in my opinion, actually reacted nicely from an interesting level. If you do start managing to, or if it breaks below this structure here, then that's a different story. That's maybe the moment where it may actually go even lower, and that's going to be an interesting one, and then we can actually accumulate even more, right? That's going to be something to keep an eye on. Of course, price may retest this level again, may get closer a little bit to this level before pushing. Again, we'll see. Like, we'll see. Everything so quick. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan when I see V-shapes. I don't really think that's going to be the bottom if it is just in a V-shape situation. So that's something to keep tracking on. Ethereum Bitcoin, right? That's a crazy one. So it went all the way into the next demand that I had marked, right? So it held this level in here for quite a while in here. All right, and then it went all the way. Like, it never managed to break above this high, so that was something that we paid attention to, which means that maybe there was more bearish sign in here. And all of a sudden tonight, this morning, it just went all the way through to react from the next demand that was in there. Like, and eventually below that, price may go all the way closer to something in here, right? If it gets into this compression in there. But for now, good reaction. So we'll see. Right now, it's going to be trading between these two levels. So we'll see how price may react from here. Crypto total market, that was one as well that it was really clear on what we were looking for. Like we had the Inguf to downside, we had a clean fresh level in there, and then you had all this PA as well in there. We broke the lows, and there you go. Like we even had managed to break below this low first, so that's a nice confirmation as well that price may wants to go lower. So we start having many lows being broken until we eventually have the move, right? It's a kind of a nice Quasimodo and this range usually that I look for as well to trade. And price may have gone all the way below this level. I hope it went. That actually makes sense if it actually respected. I would prefer to see actually price go below this structure in here. So we'll see what's going to happen next as well in here. And yeah, last week it was a nice move with that breakout. So we are looking always for clues, like that's why we look at different charts as well, look at correlation and try to see which levels have been broken or not. That's something to also pay attention in here. All right, moving along. Yeah, looking at the other indices, like so we have the DN index. This is an interesting one as well. So it respected those lows, it continued to push the upside. Today, it's being kind of creating a little bit of a reversal situation in here. It's a nice one. Basically, price taking this high, getting a little bit closer into that structure. In my opinion, eventually, I think it wants even to go slightly higher. On a week, it's getting closer to that supply. Yeah, this just took this important structure in there. So we'll see. Of course, it has this gap in here to be closed, so that's something to keep an eye on, and then eventually can continue to push. To the upside. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, we predicted that reversal from here. Then meanwhile, price is just trading a little bit in the middle. Nice move, push the upside. And basically that will mean the reverse on the other end pairs, as we will see in a bit. Yeah, so that's, yeah, it's kind of a nice structure in there. So looking more a little bit into the war time frame and what you can look in here, right? This is again another just drop in there, okay. Yeah, you can close the gap. That's basically what you're going to be looking for, to close the gap. And the move in here was so aggressive that we'll see. Eventually, may wants to go there, and now it may start creating a little bit of this structure in here. That's nice. Basically, pretends that it looks like a double top in here, and it starts moving down. All of a sudden, it has that quick fake out. It's a typical move, as well as a trend continuation pattern. Yeah, let's look for the break in here, and then you'll see, right? So whenever it breaks this, or it closes this gap in here and gets back into this structure, we may have a reaction, and then which means that maybe the end pairs wants to go a little bit more to the downside. But at this point, it's just within this range. Yeah, same thing in here on the Euro index, which we had this. Yeah, that level hold, something that we have been waiting and looking for as well. Again, bigger picture, eventually more downside on the Euro. It makes complete sense, basically. If you are looking now at this daily time frame, it makes complete sense on what you can look for. Basically, this level was broken in there. This is the next previous structure that was created on the way down. Basically, price just retested that previous level support resistance, and now basically resuming the move to downside. Of course, price may wants to go back somewhere in here and then potentially continue or go in there. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. It's totally possible of a move in here on the Euro index, but in your opinion, then eventually price may wants to continue to push a little bit more to the downside. Meanwhile, looking at the VIX as well, of course, is holding this level in here, this 14 mark. And as you can see, and that was something that we looked for as well. Anytime the VIX gets a little bit closer to this level, we are seeing that spike to the upside and the move to downside on the US indices. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. All right, now looking at the individual currency pairs, right? So let's start with euro dollar in here. Just give me a second. yeah, guys, let me know as well in the comments what pairs you would like me to analyze, and your opinion as well. What is your take on what you are looking for in here in the market? Just give me a second. My platform was off. MetaTrader. You can push it. All right, so looking at the euro dollar, like, so let me just put this. Yeah, I know it still has the marks from before. So euro dollar, right? This was a level that I was looking for as well. Again, it was so aggressive, and this is what I mentioned in terms of the euro dollar that created this triple low. There was not exactly kind of a clean fake out in there, but this was a level that was fresh. I've been waiting actually quite a while for price to go and retest this level, even with these lows or even with those lows, before a push higher. That was left behind, and then eventually price now came all the way down to react from. Now, question mark is also at the highs, right? Did price reacted from something that makes sense or not? Like Euro Index did reacted from something that makes sense, as we saw, and potentially can have that continuation to the downside on the euro. At this point, euro is reacting from some structuring here in alignment to this level. I think there's eventually more room to downside also on the euro dollar, just similar to the dollar index, where I think in the bigger picture there's still more room to the upside in there. But meanwhile, in the lower time frame, you may have something to trade within this structure, right? And of course, first and foremost, we may close that gap. But this is another typical move where price never really reacted from the origin of the move in here. Basically, the demand zone that started to create this push to the upside was left behind, and now a strong reaction that we had in here, right? And then today, this morning, basically price bounced from there one more time and start pushing to the upside in here. At the highs, there's even some structures in there as well that price eventually could react from. But in your opinion, if actually price starts moving closer to those highs, eventually price will just continue to move a bit more to the upside. But yes, we do have this structure even somewhere in here. Potentially we can have. This was a nice pattern again, where price started to break a little bit of these lows, pick out the level, and then continue. Right, this is a typical continuation pattern that we look for, kind of a zone 2 type of a move, as I like to call it. So again, we'll see. Like if price does get closer again to these lows, maybe there's an opportunity. If price starts getting closer to here, there's maybe that initial short. I don't really like anything that's going on now in here, so I'm not really going to be interested to look for. Something that we may have even is that price may even go slightly lower. Maybe there's a little bit more of a new, an extra extreme in there on the euro dollar, what potential price may wants to react from. So that's something to pay attention as well. But so far, really good reaction from that level on the euro dollar. Looking at the pound dollar, like similar kind of continuation pattern in here of a push downside, and price just came out the way to react from this level. Basically everything in here was being compressed, and now price reacting from here. It could even go lower, but at this point that was the fresh demand where price ended up reacting from. Similar, we may have a little bit more of a push to the upside as well. I was even looking for this pound dollar to go actually a little bit higher. It just reacted from this lower edge. I was looking a little bit more in there, which never really happened. But yeah, nice move on the pound. Again, where price is reacting is perfect in here. Like that was one of the extremes as well that we had since a long time ago. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen from here. Am I going to trade anything in here in the middle? I don't really like it. I would prefer to see price maybe taking something in here, having some kind of reaction potentially before continue to push higher, or eventually you start breaking some lows and some structure, then eventually can even go more to the downside, but maybe could take this first. Right, but this is in terms of left shoulder, basically that's where already reacted from. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, wait and see basically in here on the pound. Looking at the euro pound, right? Euro pound, it's one that I'm going to be looking for. All right, so we did have that reaction. Price went all the way up. We started having already initially even a break to the upside in here. price created out this structure, start breaking some highs in here, and now finally fill out this price all the way towards to this high. It did manage to break it. It broke even this structure as well in there, which eventually could be seen a little bit as an engulf to the upside. But meanwhile, it started to create this type of move. It came all the way to the downside in here, where now it filled this range, right? Basically filled all this space in here. So I'm going to be looking to see what's going to happen. Like, again, don't forget that on Thursday we do have Bank of England, so that can be an interesting one to look for. It never closed this gap, all right, the gap created now. So we may have a reaction from this demand zone. So there's maybe some price action to pay attention to in here that you can look for. Price is still respected at level, but in here basically it's already really broken, with price potentially going into that structure. But its price reacted in here. Like, basically this high just reacted from this previous demand zone that price kind of should have reacted from, but it didn't. So yeah, so that never really happened. One second, just, yeah, it appears. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. All right, so euro pound, definitely. And if the euro pound by any chance starts moving to the upside, it means that a pound dollar may wants to move a little bit more to the downside. So that's something to pay attention to. If not from here, there's maybe still a chance to even go slightly below this level into something in here, which it wouldn't be my favorite, to be honest. Then I'll be looking maybe for price to get even a little bit more to the downside. Like, I don't really like much of what's going on in here. This level in here, perhaps you can have that reaction. There's maybe something in there, but then I'll prefer to start looking for price to go a little bit more to the downside in here. Yeah. So that will be a bit more of where I'm going to be looking for. Yeah, definitely. Euro pound is definitely one to pay attention. When you are looking even on the daily time frame, you can see how many days in a row basically price has been just moving to the downside. So, and the euro pound is kind of one of those assets that likes to range, like it likes to spend a lot of time moving up and down. Then it does have this quick move up, but then kind of gets rejected straight away, but eventually goes back and goes back to collect these orders again, and we start ranging a little bit more even within this structure, right? So that's potentially a move to look for. Yeah, I'll definitely pay attention for it tomorrow. Now, looking at the Aussie pairs, like, so again, that's another one that we've been bearish for quite a long time. It makes completely sense, where basically Aussie started to react a little bit closer to the structure after breaking below that low. Like, typical move as well, breaks the low, shows the indication where it wants to go, but then comes back out the way, fake out the structure, and then basically resumes the move to the downside. Like, again, question mark is where is price reacting from right now, and maybe getting a little bit closer into an interesting structure in here on the left side. So potentially that can be the reaction until eventually price just continues more into that level. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one as well to pay attention. Now it's basically closing the gap. Meanwhile, yes, it's true, you start having some highs being broken, so that can be a little bit of a shift, as you can see basically throughout this movement in here. This was basically one of the highs that was broken and nothing else, and that eventually can be a little bit of the target that we can aim for on the Aussie. But of course there was this structure here where price eventually could react, and potentially you can go all the way and still respect something somewhere in here. All right, I'll not be surprised if you do even fake out this high in there and eventually react from something in there as well. So yeah, that's something to pay attention. Before this move, we try to go higher, then go down. That's kind of a nice usually situation where potentially this starts to give the signal that price wants to go higher, but then you have that big push down. So with that being said, what you can potentially starting to look for is potentially zones to look for longs. Okay, again, the zone on the left side is not bad. Okay, just see if I can look into. I think I changed it 1 second. Yeah, right. So price is reacting from this demand zone. Like, it's definitely not a bad level. Of course, can eventually go a little bit more to the downside. Looking at the bigger picture, there's maybe some structuring there. So, but yeah, overall, it's not about level. It's not a level that you say, yeah, maybe price still want to at least go 20 pips a little bit further down. If it wants to react from here, it can react from here. All right, it's also visible on the 4-hour time frame, hourly. So it's not about one. So eventually price wants to go and fake out the structure in here. Basically price creating this nice compression, and yeah, looking for some kind of reaction from this level could be interesting. And it's already kind of on the structure that was left behind. This demand zone in there. Basically price reacted from the upper edge of that level, leaving this one behind. That's nice to see. Yeah, that will be the extreme of the extreme, but before that, maybe price wants to just have some kind of reaction from one of these levels in here. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely. All right, so that's Aussie. Eventually, when price does move to the downside, especially if there's a clear break, even if it's kind of just a small zone, can be interesting. If price by any chance just basically reacts, closes the gap, and starts moving down, yeah, that would be a little bit more of a question mark in here. But with PI, yeah, with PI, I think we could be quite interesting to look for a bigger move, right? And maybe even price just starts ranging between this direction here. It can provide a really great opportunity in here, right? So yeah, let's take a look into it. Then we go into New Zealand, which also basically caused all this broke all this structuring here. Yeah, I'd already removed all these lines, but because my platform closed without unexpectedly, basically everything is back in here. Even fake out that low, basically respected still the low in there. Just draw this. Perfect. Yeah, good reaction from that structure as well, which you start looking left. Yeah, there's potentially more room to the downside as well in here. Potentially can even go below that structure, and eventually can even go all the way. Like, for example, this level in here can be quite good. Like, whenever price gets into this level, it can be a really nice move to look for on New Zealand. Yeah, below this structure, below this low. Maybe there's even a reaction initially from this demand zone, but price is reacting from the upper edge in there. This level is fresh. That could be a really interesting one, which is basically also in alignment in here, right? But I'm looking at something for way into the future in here, but definitely can be something really interesting. And then the extreme of the extreme is going to be in there. But yeah, that would be really good. That would be definitely really good. But yeah, let me know, guys, again, share with me what you are looking for and what pairs you want me to pay attention to in here. All right, so yeah, New Zealand, right? New Zealand, it's similar to the Aussie. So similar to the Aussie in a situation where actually a little bit different in the sense that Aussie got closer to the previous levels of support resistance. And New Zealand, it looks like there's still a little bit of a gap in here, right? It looks like New Zealand may have reacted from something more into the lower time frame, and yes, it did reacted from the zone on the lower time frame, which with this last supply that make this push to the downside in here. But when you are looking into the higher time frame, it looks like that price is reacting from nothing, right? Because the level itself is a little bit higher, and price just paused in there. Which means that eventually when price now moves higher, it can pick out this level and it can get a little bit closer into the next one. Like, and similar to this level, price already broke a little bit of the structure, but not just reacted from that zone. We never really closed the gap, neither in here. So yeah, I'll be looking for. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this double bottom, so that's something that I'll be a little bit concerned about. Opposite with the Aussie, where we don't really have these double bottoms. On New Zealand, we have that one and even that one as well, right? So that's something that you need to be aware of. If price by any chance does want to make an extra leg down, fake out completely everything, and then eventually push higher. So we need to be completely aware of that situation. Price already also managed to break below that low, not that one, in here. So yeah, eventually can get into that structure. Do I have? I don't think I have. I don't have enough data to go there. But looking in here, okay, so if you're looking into this structure, is there anything? Yeah, we do have that same demand zone similar to the Aussie, but yeah, I'm not going to be looking for anything in here. To be honest, I'm not going to be. Yeah, I would need a proper PI on this level, but yeah, I'm concerned with the low, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be just looking at the Aussie. Looking at Euro Aussie, like Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie, I think they are quite interesting as well. Even though I'm not really going to take the Euro Aussie, even though this level is really good, price profit structure managed to break that low as well. But I'm not really biggest fan where price is basically reacting in here. So, but it continues to respect the supply level. So yes, if the Aussie dollar is ready to go slightly higher, eventually we're going to have that move on the Euro Aussie, and Euro Aussie that managed actually to break slightly that level and reacted perfectly from here. So yeah, eventually could go a little bit closer into something in there. So that's something to pay attention eventually. But the Pound Aussie, that's the one that actually I am a little bit more interested. Okay, I've been starting to track Pound Aussie, so it had that initial reaction from that level, great reaction from this demand zone, and then start pushing to the upside again. Same kind of continuation pattern that we're looking here, where you have that demand zone that managed to break, price never got there, was slightly higher, then eventually visits that level or test that level. It looks like that price is leaving that level behind again, but then it comes back one more time and then pushes to the upside, like, and then all of a sudden we can start using a little bit of these left shoulders as a potential zone to look for a long continuation in this case. All of a sudden we had that big push to the upside. All right, so again, this was a great level. As you could see, that high never really reacted from the structure, which is happening, or it just happened overnight in there. Again, another one that. All right. So yes, so that's something to keep an eye on. All right, this was a good reaction in here. Again, this was a little bit overnight, but this is a potential level to look for. All right, so I'm going to be tracking this level. Again, it's the pound, which means that we're going to have Bank of England on Thursday, so it may move a little bit more than, for example, Euro Aussie. So anything regarding to the pound pairs may move a little bit more this week. So that's maybe where actually we want to be looking for the opportunity. We can be looking at pound CAD and Euro CAD as well. Maybe pound CAD could be a better choice. But yeah, we'll see. Right. So we're going to be tracking to see how price may react from the highs. There's a chance that price may still wants to go slightly higher, and it's totally okay. All right, I don't really think that maybe this is the final destination. Maybe price still wants to go a little bit more to the upside. We can actually try to see exactly where price reacted from, which is maybe just this bottom. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Previous support resistance in here, and there's maybe. Yeah, okay, this was basically the decision, right? Price basically breaks, retest, and go. Right? That's a good level. Definitely a good level to look for, but eventually price can even go back out that level and get into the next one. Like, that's just a typical move. This can be just a continuation of a compression move as price continues to push to the upside. So it can go a little bit lower, then eventually can go higher and eventually potentially create some kind of double top for a bigger turn. So that would be a little bit more of the fight, right? Now this was a nice one as well. I was really looking for price to go slightly deeper. Price just pick out by a little bit, like these guys, just a little bit. Didn't really make that move in here. And then of course reacted from the left shoulder and it pushed to the upside. That was a really nice one. It's one of those that price doesn't really make a big fake out, just a little bit, and basically it looks like it missed the overall structure in here. Again, maybe something for the future. Once again, so yeah, but Pound Aussie definitely something to keep an eye on. So yes, I do like that one. It's going to be interesting. Definitely, it's going to be interesting to look for in here. Yeah, so that's something that I'll be tracking. And of course, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I did reach the 700 subs, so it has been a long time to reach it. looking, of course, to get the 1000 and back to being active. So yeah, like and subscribe, turn on notifications because we're going to be analyzing the market together on a daily basis. So yeah, turn on the notifications and let's look at it together, because it looks like that we're going to have new price action on a daily basis in here. Looking at Aussie yen. Where is Aussie yen? 1 second. Yeah, Aussie yen just continues to push a little bit more to the downside. We had that push to the upside on the yen index, which means that these yen pairs actually moved to the downside, but now we are actually having a little bit of a correction. Yeah, price is now approaching a little bit of these lows, so it's not a surprise. Price already reacted from the upper edge. There's maybe a little bit more room to go eventually into something in there. So yeah, that's something to keep a track here, or keep an eye on. Yeah, we'll see. This was a nice one in there as well. The price eventually basically created that move into this structure. Yeah, I want to see price going a little bit more in there. Looking at the dollar yen, so dollar yen is something that we also been looking for. In my opinion, I think there's maybe a little bit more room to the upside. Again, dollar yen, as it continues to approach these levels of 160 and so on, it's always a level of concern for the Bank of Japan. Interesting enough, the dollar yen it was basically the only pair that didn't really create any gap whatsoever with this news over the weekend. So it looks like it's quite steady. Maybe again this safe haven type of characteristic that the dollar yen has. The market didn't really create any gap in here, which is interesting. Now, it has been trading at this level for quite a long time. I'm already actually tired to see a dollar yen trading around this level for the last month. I was looking to see price eventually would retest these highs potentially for a new short, or at least to go all the way and fill this price in here, where I'm looking for price to eventually go towards to. At this point, yes, it's still basically retesting that one. It has been retested so many times that eventually may go, but we do have also these highs that eventually can have that fake out before price pushes to the downside as well, right? So that will be, or it is something to keep an eye on in here, to see eventually if this dollar yen does fake out this high, either gets a little bit closer to this level before potentially continues doing this with this move to the downside. So that's something to keep an eye on. Again, yen index has been now moving to the downside, and eventually can reach a level which is going to move upwards, which means that this one's going to move down. The dollar as well has been quite strong now recently with that big move. Now kind of reacting from that on the left side. Yeah, that creates this basically this range that we're having here on the dollar yen. Euro yen is completely different. All right, Euro yen actually it reacted really nicely. So I had the thing move to the downside. Price broke into this structure and then came all the way back into this extreme in here. We got a really nice move, and then it started to move to the downside. Like again, we had already that break as well, and then confirmation and price just moves. So those are the type of moves that you want to pay attention to. It breaks into all this compression zone. Now, yes, we do have this demand zone, basically one of them that is still fresh at around this level. It's basically where price is reacting right now, but eventually can even go a little bit more to the downside. But for now, it's reacting quite nicely. In here, yes, we have that gap to close. Of course, we have the structure in here as well. So yeah, let's see how Euro yen may react from here. Maybe there's a little bit of intraday opportunity to look for with this strong demand zone in here that we can maybe try to trade eventually even into closing that gap. We did manage not to take this high in here. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen within this Euro yen. Otherwise, if price starts breaking the lows, then you get into a bit more into that zone. Yeah. Looking at pound yen. Pound yen getting a little bit more into this extreme. It's nice. Again, pound yen is going to be one that maybe is going to move a little bit more comparing with the Euro yen, just because of the news in the UK. There's maybe even a little bit more room into this demand zone. Price still respecting that level. Maybe if prices come back into here, there's maybe another reaction to be expected. Price still respected those highs in there. So yeah, it's a bit in the mix. We did manage to break out the structure. Price came all the way back in here to test this level. It's a perfect move. So just by looking, if you're looking into this bigger pattern in here, maybe this is a move to downside, which means that eventually price will just resume the move to downside, break below that level and start getting a little bit closer into the next zone in there. But that's way into the bigger picture. On the lower time frame, yes, we may have these reactions in here more in the intraday. Price may react again from this level, even eventually from there as well. So yeah, those are just a few levels in here to pay attention to on the euro yen. And then you get into CAD, right? And what can you say, right? Basically, dollar CAD is the crazy one, right? It's the one that is literally being targeted by Trump, and we can't see that move, right? Basically, we're acting from levels of the back from 2003. Like I don't even have much data to go investigate that level, and potentially can even go higher, right? I think you can even go structure a little bit more into that zone in there, right? Now we had this double top. Traditionally, as everyone knows, like basically those were being targeted for price eventually to fake out, and we did have that move, and our price basically just created or retested back into this structure. Right, we started to have nice moves in here on the dollar CAD, but yeah, that was a nice one. Price keep respecting this level. It broke to the upside, goes and come back. Yeah, we'll see. Right, so we'll see basically what's going to happen. You may have a little bit of a zone in there. All this in here looks quite compressed. So yeah, that was kind of a zone where price already reacted from. Yeah, again, bigger picture, it looks like that price may wants to go. Yeah, it looks like that price may still wants to go a little bit more to the upside. Yes, we do have this maybe supply level in there. Yeah, it's kind of on a daily. Price already reacted from it twice. So that's maybe already used quite a lot. Yeah, so eventually price may still wants to go a little bit more into this next structure in there. But yeah, not even on the daily time frame I can go there. Interesting. Yeah, that was a touch. Yeah, so we'll see. It's another one to keep an eye on in here. Something else that I was more interested actually is the pound CAD and potentially the euro CAD. Okay, so euro CAD, that's one that I'm going to be keep tracking. I've been starting to follow. I was actually looking to see if euro CAD actually would go a little bit closer into that structure to actually fake out all this. But basically, I think it just took this high, kept respecting that one. So I was looking for euro CAD actually to go a little bit more into that structure. Can even go into there as well, but now is finding some selling pressure as we speak. So yeah, start to break some lows in here, created that fake out, basically reacting from this left shoulder, and now pushing a little bit more to the downside. It didn't really create any gap. Interesting, maybe because again the euro created the gap, under that created gap, and all of a sudden euro CAD didn't create any gap. Yeah, but I'm looking to see if price goes a little bit closer into that level, and potentially we can have an interesting short opportunity. The reaction from here was really good. We managed to break some structure, but price kept respecting that level in there. So we did already manage to break basically that low as well, which then eventually price reacted from it. So yeah, eventually price can go all the way. That's the thing. A lot of this has been compressed already. Maybe there's a little bit of a zone in here that price can respect. But aside from that, 20 of these lows in here have been already tested, which make them weaker, which means that price eventually can go all the way in there. Yeah, so that's one to keep an eye on. And then of course pound CAD as well. Yeah, pound CAD, which we did manage to break below that low. Where are we in the bigger picture? Sorry, yeah, we are reacting from this level in the bigger picture. It's kind of good. We did manage to break below this low, right? So that's one to keep an eye on. We did had also this high eventually here to fake out. and price basically did that into this structure. Now somewhere in here there's maybe more or a better level to react from. Let's just see where price is reacting right now. Yeah, price is reacting which from the lower edge of the zone, but eventually could go a bit more into the extreme. And somewhere in there is maybe where you can have like basically price react from the supply, the created is pushed down, but eventually you can get a little bit closer into that level. But for now, it's actually quite an interesting level. Again, it's pound card may have left actually this level behind in here, so that's a potential zone where you can even look for another reaction. In here, we start to break some. We started to break some lows in here already, or at least reacting really close to the extreme. So we have that one as well. So maybe we can create this structure that eventually price may wants to retest one more time. Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on. Yeah, price already reacted from the structure, then that one. In here already reacted a little bit from that level, basically closed gap, went up again. There's maybe something in there. There's something in here as well. So yeah, pound card, definitely I'll be looking to see if there's any opportunity to try to short it from there. If price just wants to make another big move in here, like which can happen with another announcement from Trump, maybe he's going to pay 10% even more on Canada. Then eventually price wants to go closer to that extreme there. Moving along, we go into dollar franc Swiss. So yeah, dollar franc Swiss, that's another one that's really good. All right, so that's really good as well. So price make that move. So if you guys remember, we are looking for that move. No surprise whatsoever. Price bounced in here. Oh, not bounced. Spend a lot of time at around this level, and then it just pushed to the upside. That was really good. And then literally filled out the price towards the extreme. Now we fake out this high, perfect. And now we are getting reacted already from that zone, right? So price had already reacted from that initial zone in here perfectly. More into the work, yeah, something in there. And then we came all the way back in here, and we did manage to break below that structure. So that for me can be as an engulf to the downside. Right, then we have a little bit of this move, perfect, and now price gapped to the upside, basically already reacted from here. But the reaction is already all the way into the extreme in here, right? So that's actually quite good, right? Basically price already went all the way. As you can see, basically in here everything is compressed, and basically that's where the next zone is. As we continue to move into the world time frame, we're going to see more or less where actually that move is, right? So basically we have this last zone. Price goes down, reacts from here, makes a decision point in here again that it wants to go lower, and it's maybe around this structure where you have this candle, this low, and maybe somewhere around here we have that decision, the same thing that we have also this one, right? So that's more or less how I usually look for. Again, fakes out this high that never really reacted from that zone, and all of a sudden that's basically where price may have reacted, right? And you can basically check, right? There you go. Like I didn't even know where it was, but as you can see, it's basically where price reacted. And this is an exercise that you guys can do. Like you see more or less where the zone that price reacted from, and you go investigate that on the left side. I can try to be precise with it. Of course, if you go into the tick charts, maybe there's a little bit more of a decision point in there. But yeah, this looks like it was kind of a decision point in here, push up, and eventually got rejected, and that's basically where it is. So yeah, nice move in here, which may open the door eventually for price to come back into this level, to be honest. So this one in here may have been now created for a potential reaction again. Yes, this is already kind of a double top that we have in here, but there's maybe a potential zone in there to react. Is it price reacting from here now? A lot of it is being compressed. Yeah, that will be more or less what I'm going to be looking for. Yeah, price already reacted from this left shoulder, basically, as you can see. Basically, price created or broke also that structure in there. Yeah, this is also something that we want to look for. We want to see price breaking structure to downside before this push up. yeah, really nice moving here on dollar front Swiss this morning. There's maybe still more room for another potential short in there. Then gold, right? Gold broke all-time highs. Gold is a pair that many of you like to trade. So yeah, so broke all-time highs. A good move in here, basically that level, yeah, reacted from here, perfect. We start to break a little bit of a low in there, but basically price just reacted from the next zone. Again, go higher. It's basically the pattern that I mentioned within the how to trade all-time highs, the video that I made. Basically that's the move in there. Price reacted a little bit from this level, may have left this one behind, which is a level that eventually can react from. Yeah, that's maybe a level that eventually can go and react from. Unless on the wartime frame, it's where basically price end up going to. Yeah, that's potentially a move. Yeah, then that price maybe continue to go slightly higher. Potentially without this situation, gold continues to be quite bullish in here, and it may continue. It may not be close to a top. Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen. And then we have oil, right? So oil is going to be an interesting one. Like oil is going to be definitely something interesting to trade as well during this period, where we have Trump that even during his speech, when he during the inauguration, he mentioned even that he wants to reduce the price of oil, right? Basically reduce the price of energy as much as possible, because that's one of the ways to fight the inflation, right? To not keep the inflation going up even with these tariffs, because the tariffs are going to increase inflation, period. One of the ways to kind of counterbalance that situation is by pushing the price of oil as low as possible. And that's one of the ways that basically is going to try to potentially to negotiate with the OPEC members. Also, he wants to drill, right? So he wants to produce much more oil as well within the US, which eventually can help as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. Basically, during this speech, around here it was basically 16 to 20, and after that basically oil has been pushing to the downside. It's approaching an interesting level in here. We had a lot of volatility around this level. It's an interesting high, to be honest with you. This looks like to me as an engulf a little bit to the upside, but yeah, I'm looking to see how price may react from around a bit more to the downside. To be honest, I'm not really enjoying now this structure. We do have that demand zone. Potentially, if we do have that zone, maybe you have a potential move in here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We do have this compression to the downside, basically this channel that was created in here. On the way down, price started to break a little bit, just retesting from that level and respecting still that level in here. So yeah, looking for potentially a new low being created until we have that move. Like maybe you can start having a little bit of this pattern in here if price does want to respect that level and potentially at least retest this zone again. Yeah, so that's one of them. And then you have also Brent. Oh, it's been a long time since I touched this one. Yeah, nice victory. What a reaction from there. Yeah, now price is still kind of respecting this level. I think this data may be different depending on the server that you're looking for. In some of them, we may have already broken this level in here and starting to move lower. And some others, we are where we are, which is basically still respecting this zone in there. So we'll see. Yeah, this is quite messy. I may as well just empty everything. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but this one also to keep an eye on, because the compression to move to downside is quite aggressive, which means that eventually we can have a good move upwards, even if it is just to react from something in here and then continue to push to the downside. So that can be a trade. Okay, that can be a setup in here to look for. Maybe it's going to be below that level. But as I mentioned, I think if you are looking at a different a different server, we may have already price breaking below that level. Like, yeah, basically that's what I mean. This is the WTI, basically price already broke that zone in there, reacting from the next one. But yeah, as you can see, basically price already getting closer to this level. I think Brent's basically the same thing. Yeah, it's actually reacting really nicely from already this level here, which, yeah, again, I don't really like when I have different price action in different servers. But overall, kind of that it's a nice trend line. It was just broken. But yeah, with that being said, guys, yeah, been live already for 1 hour and 10 minutes. It's good to be back. I really enjoyed it. It helps me. It actually helps me to have clarity as well. This pre-market analysis, to be honest, I think it's one of the main routines or activities that every trader should do. Preparation. I think that's one of the main or most important things. So yeah, because that starts how it just helps you to know what to look for the next day. And just by doing that, you are already 1 or 2 steps ahead of the market. You are not reactive, you are being proactive. You start visualizing as well what exactly you want to be involved in, mentally also ready to put risk on in those levels, and so on and so forth. Like, and anytime I don't really do this preparation or this pre-market analysis, then I came here the next day and without having a game plan, and yeah, my trading is not the same. So with that being said, guys, I really appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're going to be back tomorrow. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. It's good to have the camera on, so that's going to be the new style. Yeah, and eventually, if you guys want, I can invite someone as well to join me to share your own analysis with everyone, and we can have a conversation during the stream. So thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.